Hey, DirtFarmerJay here from DirtFarmerJay.com. Recently, I saw an article in Fine Woodworking for an all-in-one workstation that can take on the road. It is really cool and it works really well. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Hey, DirtFarmerJay here from DirtFarmerJay.com. One of my woodworking heroes, Michael Pekovich, who is on the staff of Fine Woodworking, recently put out an article called An All-in-One Workstation for Dovetails. Now, Michael is not only on the executive staff of that publication, but he's also a very busy woodworking educator, and so he's on the road a lot, teaching woodworking skills to a wide range of people across the U.S. Well, I'll tell you what, you don't want to be hauling around heavy workbenches and that sort of thing. So out of necessity, Michael created this, what he calls all-in-one workstation for dovetails. And what he found is that by building this fixture and then clamping it to the edge of a work surface, he could either put wood up through here that he could work up on the top, or he could flip this on its side and do the same thing, clamp it to a work surface and clamp things forward and be able to work it right here. It did a couple things. One, it held the work securely using existing work surfaces, so you don't have to have a dedicated workbench or woodworking workbench to do this. And secondly, it raised the work a little bit, which makes it a lot handier where it's closer, easier to see, and is not as hard on the back. Well, I'm not going to take you step by step exactly, because I'm going to direct you to this resource that is actually you can get as a reprint. And if you look at the description below, I've given you links to where to get this. This came out of the May-June 2020 edition. So it's been a little bit since this has been out, but boy, does this thing work really well. And it is made, as you can walk through it here, just using rabbet and dado construction and groove construction. Now, if you're confused about what those three different techniques for woodworking are, check out the link right above or in the description below, where we have another brief video that says what's the difference between a dado, a rabbet, and a groove, and you can get that straight in your mind and how to construct them. When you download this article, it's going to go in two different directions here. One is where he just shows how to build this stand, some of the ways that it's used, but then also just its simple construction method and how to put it together. Then after that, you're going to see some ways that Michael uses these. So what he does is like he's cutting dovetails, routing out the waste, doing half blind dovetails, sawing the pins. So he shows you some methodology of woodworking that you can make use of this. And so this is very, very handy. So rather than walking through step by step the construction, which you can get from here, I'm just going to show you some of the features of this and kind of some of my thoughts about as we go on this. First off, you can see this is put together with simple rabbet construction. Now, you could just butt things together, but rabbets are marvelous at aligning the pieces and actually helping square it up. So the outer pieces that go around this all are put together with rabbets. In the center, where you have a piece on both sides, those are put into dados, they're captured in, and this gives you a pocket along the side where you can clamp onto a work surface on both sides, giving you the stability that you need when you're sawing, hammering, planing, and that sort of thing. So that's number one. Number two, these clamps on the top, you can go really whole hog on these or go economical. I kind of went in the middle. If you buy the inexpensive ones from a place like Harbor Freight, they're usable, they'll work, but they're not the highest quality. And then on the other end, you can go to a really premium brand that's been in the industry for years in industrial settings like Destaco, and they're going to work beautifully. And they even have some that are self-adjusting that does, all you have to do is adjust this one time, and then this will adjust itself to whatever thickness of stock you have under the clamp head. These are middle range. They came from a company called PowerTech. I'll give you the link in the description below. So they're medium price. I bought a whole bag of them for these kind of setups. Now, When we were looking at this, Rob, who's behind the camera right now, right away said, boy, there's one thing I don't like. This is like a pinch area right here that it can get you. And that is true if you're opening them all the way up to stow them. You have to be careful or grab on the side here to get your fingers kind of out of the way. But generally speaking, you're probably going to have them in about 3/4 position. Your fingers are going to be out of the way. You can adjust these one time. And I actually put an additional nut and a wing nut here, so it made it so I could adjust these by hand without having to go get my wrenches and kind of setting this where I want. So these are at medium depths. On the back, you can see where I use some off-the-shelf type of tighteners where you can do that and slide them in the position you want and then tighten that where you want in the position to grab the wood that you desire to. Now, there's one other thing that you may look in the background. And to Rob's point, when I open those wide up, I just kind of smash my fingers a little bit. So be a little careful. If you notice in the background right here, there's this groove that's running across sideways. And what that is for, let's suppose that you're working with some really thin stock. So imagine this MDF as a piece of, let's say, hickory that I want to do some dovetails. I'm making a small box or something. Well, if I put that in, I can't get this to clamp down low enough, even if I lower this. But if I put a spacer under this, and you'll see this in the plans, with a cleat, I can push that into that, raise the bed of this clamping area, and now when I lower the clamps and put this under it, it's going to grab it and it's just fine. So that bumps up the utility for thin stock. If you're needing thicker stock, then what I did is I built a second edition of this because I've got some really thick stock that I'm going to be working on in the near future. I'm building a workbench area. And let me get that for you. So while I was making one of these, they're so easy to make, I went ahead and built a second one that has thicker side cleats on it. So you'll notice these are about 3/4. This is about 1 1/4, 1 3/8 right here that allows me to work with thicker stock. And as you can see here, I'm using a standard 2x, but let's suppose I was using 8/4 lumber or something like that, that I was going to do some houndstooth dovetails or something, then this allows me to clamp this. And you can see that these can be set up in different orientations. This is where I've set it up vertically. There's a clamping pocket right here for a regular workbench. Doesn't work on this kind of cabinet, but you would clamp this, and now you've got a secure area to work the end of the board here. And then this is where we set it the other way. Again, clamping pocket here and here on an overhang on a workbench or table. And now you can clamp this down flat here for cutting different things or to bring, and you can align pieces together because there's a square corner. If you're doing dovetails or having to mark or scribe two different pieces of wood together, that corner facilitates this. This is really handy. A lot of hard work. Michael did a great job on this. Be sure that you download the article at the end or check out Fine Woodworking itself. It's a great resource to build your skills. If you found this video to be helpful, please like it. When you do, ring the bell and make sure to subscribe so you'll get notified of ongoing great video. Now, you know, another problem people have is if they have a drill press in their shop area, just all the tools and the clutter that goes around it. Well, check out this video where we tell you about some of our favorite drill press accessories, and then check out this other video that we've made for you that YouTube thinks is just perfect for your interests. Hey, thanks for watching. Until the next time, this is Dirt Farmer Jay from DirtFarmerJay.com. Thanks, Michael.